So, what stuff have we got on the bench today? Okay, XS and FJ are very, very similar in a lot of respects. And the XS is going to have a set of FJ carburetors on it. So when you look at my FJ, let's go have a look. Many moons ago, I decided to put these filters on. So I had the carbs rejetted, put the filters on, got it dynoed, and it did develop a bit more horsepower, but it changed the where the power came in. And I was never really comfortable with it on this bike. The reason I did this in the beginning was because the airbox I had, back to the bench, which is the same as this front had warped and broken, and it was causing the rubbers to come off the carburetor, and that made the mixture weak, and I didn't want to burn out pistons, so I put those K&Ns on. Anyway, I have purchased second-hand an airbox, which is what all this stuff is. Let's put you back there so you can see a bit better. Bell mouths. And when I come to open said airbox, in there, very dirty, but a genuine and in very good condition K&N filter. I don't know if you can see the writing on it, but it is a genuine K&N. So that will need a good clean, really good clean. The other thing I have noticed is the airbox has been modified there and here to flow more air into it. So somebody's had a good go at sorting that out. So yeah, one of the jobs for this weekend, put the original air filter box onto the FJ. I'm going to leave the jetting at the moment and see how it runs. But I do have the original jets. I think that K&N will lean it up a little bit anyway, so the bigger jets will probably work quite well with it. What else have we got? We have a petcock for XS. Yeah, Chinese, but there you go. We also have a couple of bits of Delrin, I think this is, basically a really hard nylon. And we're going to use that to make some spacers to space the tank up. So we've got a few jobs to do today. The other thing I do need to do just to get it out of the way is I'm in the middle of making a frame for, or a handrail for this here treadmill. We'll probably crack on with that as well. So yeah, a few bits to do. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is address this. So I'm going to turn it down, or I might not need to, drill through the middle and then par it off and size it, put a nice little chamfer on there. So this is going to be our spacer for the tank. And I think I will probably turn it down first before I cut it. So let's go to the lathe. Right, that's better. It was getting a bit yucky. So we are now at a point where we can hopefully get rid of our homemade washers. Idea was good, but they look a bit ugly, to be quite frank. So out with those. And in with our new Delrin spacer, which I think will do the job far better. It will do if I can get it all lined up, obviously. So there we go, Delrin spacers installed. Yeah, it's all at a bit of an angle, I know, but it is absolutely secure now. So that's it. That's the front end of the tank. And obviously we did the back end last week. So tank's good at this point in time. As the front end's now stable, I can start to look at positioning the bracket at the back. So I've just drawn a line, and hopefully, there's so many bloody lines under here now, hopefully I can take the tank off, clean up around that area and get this tacked in place. Right. Put cap back on. Oh, whilst I'm down here, there's all sorts of cobwebby stuff and wiring, just like coils of wiring. That's really dodgy. Yeah. There's a lot of bodginess around here. That thing you can hear is the brake lamp switch, and that's just been left there. Not a good idea. Right, so tank off. So I can kind of see the mark here, so I want to be a little bit behind and a ways forward. Let's see if I can get enough paint cleared off. So now we get the tank bolted back on. So remembering what happened last time, I'm going to feed some wire out and that will purge gas through. As you can hear, it sounds like an owl. So I need to struggle like hell and try and fit under here and get a tack on this. Quite a substantial tack, and do the same on the other side. keeps on going dark on me. Right, I think about there. Oh, it's fucking ugly. And actually, I've just welded the tank to the bike. That is going to be a problem. Right. Right, let's tack this side. Not the easiest of jobs this at times. Now I need to unbolt the tank, and hopefully I can break off that rope tap I put in there. See, I want to be really careful here because I can't actually see very well what I'm doing, and it's going to be hot, and I brought the wrong Allen key. Right, so the bracket's tacked on. I'm happy with that. Time to make that weld a little bit more permanent. Let's get the welder, get this on. Nice. How's that looking? That ain't bad, is it? You know what I mean? It ain't going to fall off. And it's tidy. Cool. So, next job I think is tidy up all these other welds and just put a coat of primer on everything, just so we're not going to have a rot problem. Right, so we've got those old welded bits all linished down. Just had a quick go over this one. So I'm going to lay a bit of cardboard down and just give this all a good clean up and then get some primer on it. Looking good though. So I think that's good enough for now. We're really just trying to stop it rusting up because this project will probably go on beyond this year. So it'll, winter here. Eventually the frame will be shot blasted or stripped and it'll be repainted from fresh, so it'll have a proper primer layer put on. But I think that looks a hell of a lot neater than some of the things I've seen under that tank from before. So one last job I've got to do before I pack the welder away is when I was taking the bracket off the tank, I went and put a hole in the tank. Obviously, this is a petrol tank. You do not want petrol leaking out your petrol tank. The other thing to just bear in mind is this tank has never had petrol in it. So I'm safe to weld this. And what I'm going to try and do, I'm just going to put a little dimple in that, and then I'm going to try and build up some weld. And when the bodywork guy comes to repaint it all, he can sort that out proper. So let's get you set up and let's do it. So this is all a bit nerve-wracking. What I've got to do, I've just put a dimple in the tank here to lower this bit of metal work. Hole in the tank when I took this bracket off. I now need to weld this up. I could make it a hell of a lot worse. So let's see how we go. Yeah, looking good. Yep, that will level down. I think we're good. I think maybe just a tiny bit more here. Right, that's that done. Let's pack the welder away. Yeah, kind of got a bit carried away. I needed to get the electrics box out, but this is weird. When you look at the shape of it, it's more over this side. The angles there are different. So I couldn't pull it through the top of the frame. You know, you would have thought whoever made it would make it symmetrical to the frame. No. So I undid the shaft, hoping it would just pop off, and it didn't. And this led to me having to take out the back wheel so I can get the shaft out of the way and drop it down. So yesterday I had to remove the rear prop shaft back wheel so I could get the old electrics box out, because we're going to chuck that away and fabricate a new one. But one of the problems I've found is that when you put the hub back, there is this bolt that's meant to stop the hub spinning, and there's no spacer on it. Now the reason you need a spacer is when all this bolts up tight, the spacer will stop, will bring the hub up and hold it in place properly. So the first job is to machine up a spacer. Okay, so then I can put all this back end back together and concentrate on the fabrication. Right, I'm hoping that what I can do is hold the wheel into place and then use the depth gauge feature. Yeah, it's a big old heavy thing. Let's just give me a second. What we might do is chuck the axle back in just to hold it. Oops. Right, so that's more likely to be square. Not perfect, but not bad. Right, and now I can use this as a rough gauge off the back of that plate. So I reckon our spacer needs to be, I'm going to go for 13mm. No, I'm not. I'm going to go for 12mm. So let's get set up in the lathe, find some material, and make that spacer. Well, I can't find the spacer I want, so I'm going to make a spacer out of a, I think that's an M12, M16 knot. I think that's pretty much set up. Let's see how we go. So I know it's a bit awkward for you to see because of this chrome bolt here, but I just can't get the camera in, it's quite restrictive. The the brown dirty bit is our shaft, our stud. And if I can get that out far enough, can I? No. It wasn't going to be that easy. Right, so I've got to pull the spindle. Still can't get it out far enough. So I've got to take the spindle all the way out. And I'll tell you something, this shaft drive unit's bloody heavy. And as always, with things like this, I just get awkward to get at. Right. Does it fit is the big question. Yeah, I'm going to need to file the threads out. Bear with me. Right, we're back on. Let's have a bit of a test fit. So that needs about another 3 or 4 mil taking off the width of it. Right, I've machined some more off and everything seems to be sitting dead flat now, which is really, really good. So if I can give you a slightly better angle here. So you can see that the wheel hub is sitting flat. And if I can get in and get some focus, come on. Yeah, there's our spacer sat flush. So really, it's just a case of getting the rear wheel in, bolting it all up and seeing if it's good. So I've got the rear brakes sussed now, that's out of the way. Let's see if we can get this wheel in. So what I'll do is I'll lift the wheel, put the bar through, might need a bit of tappy tap, and then build it as I'm putting the bar through to make sure everything locates. So this is going to weigh a bloody ton. One of the easier ways is to sort of sit either side and get your feet under the damn thing. Come on, nearly there, nearly there. That's got it. So now let's see if we can get the shaft bits all engaged. It's looking good. So first thing, spacer on the other side, and tappy tap this through. Right, I can feel the spacer, feel the thing in the spacer. That needs to sit on the disc and be in alignment, which it is now. And then there's a big spacer here, but it's telling me we're a few millimetres off. And I think that's because this back wheel isn't locating properly. So clear a bit of space. Let's see if we can edge that in a bit better. Definitely doesn't look to be in as far as it should be. Sometimes if pushing doesn't work, pulling might. So I'll come around the other side. And tyre definitely doesn't look to be in the middle of the mudguard now. So, and there is a big gap. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced. I'm not in alignment somewhere, somehow. I mean, it's turning the shaft, so maybe I'm wrong. Doesn't sound properly engaged, does it? See if I can get that spacer in. Let's have a look from behind. Actually, it doesn't look too bad, if truth be known. It's only a few mil off. That could be the spring of the frame, perhaps. Oh, that's weird, that fits now. And that's just making gearboxy noises now, so I'm happy that we are back on with our rear wheel. And our spacer and our axle spacing looks absolutely brilliant. So I think we nailed that one, guys. Yep, sounds okay. We might need to source some brake components to take these back up to the bench and clean them at some point and fit all this back together. Separate job. So for a job we didn't really want to have to do, we've now got it all back. It's looking pretty good. Everything in alignment.